Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is the vault, episode 746. Greatest board structure. Definitely want to thank everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. And we want to just go ahead and get into it because this is an episode that we know is definitely valuable to a lot of people. A lot of people say they are on the board of trustees. Some people reached out to us as a trustee yesterday, and we just gotta go ahead and be honest with you. First of all, if you're an active trustee in one institution, that's where most of your time is going to go. So when we talk about the greatest boards, not talking about the boards that are just put together. A lot of people say, "Oh, I got my family members on the board," but you don't have a lawyer, but you don't have a secretary, you don't have an accountant, you don't have, these things. We do our best to share what the greatest board structure is going to look like here in this particular episode. But if an individual is moving in a capacity where they're the only trustee, hey, it's time to tighten up. And so, what does that structure look like, Trust Christian? Well, it looks like most of y'all the first trustee. You're the first trustee. So some people say, "Oh, Trust Christian, I don't know how to build a board. I don't know how to interview people. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that." We're going to do our best to keep it long story short. Long story short is the elite, the greatest of us. We're surrounding ourselves with a mastermind, with a group of people that are stronger right now than we are, quote unquote, and specifically at weaknesses. Whether that's whatever it is, whether that's communicating, whether that's leadership, whether that's holding teams together, whether that's building teams. Some people say, "Oh, Trust Christian, I don't know how to build a team." Okay, how you think you're gonna learn? You gotta go out and you gotta find people that are the strengths to your weaknesses. What are they great at? And once again, the greatest sport means they're great at it. They're exceptional at it. You know this. They have a track record. It's in the public forum. Just so you know. Just so everybody knows. So when you come at them correctly. Correct. That means you know they're going to put in the hours. That means you know they're going to put in the study. That means you know they put in the study. That's what you know. That's what you know. "Oh man, Trust Christian, I'm wondering what I'm asking them questions about. How they gonna join my board? I can't pay them." Because they understand what a trustee is. They understand when compensation comes. They understand how compensation is supposed to come. So the mentors say, "Oh, Trust Christian, you gotta know what to look for." You're right. That's all we're gonna tell y'all for sure up front. You gotta know what to look for. They say, "Oh, Trust Christian, who's a senior trustee? What do they look like?" Well, we can go ahead and tell y'all the reason why we can turn down positions, and we're not even 55, is because most senior trustees are above 55. It's just what it is. They're over 50. They've been doing it for over 20 years. Just because you're 40 years old doesn't mean you've been doing it for 20 years. Some people like to think that, but unless you're playing a sport, how many careers have you had so far? So how many careers have you become great at? It takes time to become great at something. Maybe you may say it doesn't take time to become great at something, but you still got to start moving with great people. So even if you started acting great today, that means you're going to surround yourself around great people. So where do you find these people? We will share with our trustees. You got to go to business chambers. You go to business chambers. You can go to galas. You can also look on what's the largest professional website on the internet right now? LinkedIn. You go on LinkedIn, you're looking for a professional that's above this age, that's retired, and they have the time to consult with you. They have the time to mentor you. A lot of people say, "Is it a consultant?" No, it's mentorship. They're sitting on the board. They understand if you don't have anything, or if you do a performance management agreement or a performance trustee agreement, that means we got to do something here. We got to come together. Instead of getting on the line and having a conversation like, oh, I'm just going to get on the line and interview him for 20 minutes about nothing. No, now you're getting on the line and you're interviewing him for 20 minutes about, hey, I need to know, can you do this? 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 Or can you not do this? It's okay if you can. This is what we're looking for right now. And this is the way that we're going to be moving. And that's how you move. You got to have some faith and know that the Lord and the universe is going to bring you somebody to help you out. But you got to go through the numbers. You got to interview some people. You got to go through the numbers. You got to step up and say, okay, I'm going to go find where these people are at. I'm going to go where these people are at. I'm going to go look for these people. I'm going to go find these people. You can go find an accountant that's above 55. You can find an accountant from an ex Big Four accounting firm. That's just being honest. Some people say, oh, for real church Christian, yeah, we know people that are multiple colors, multiple races. They work for JP Morgan. They work for Bank of Montreal. They work for your major financial institutions. We know individuals like that. So when you are surrounding yourself with individuals like that, now you know you're dealing with the great ones. And so when you start dealing with the great ones, you can get great results. Because you know what the great ones did. You know the great ones are in the chamber at all times. The great ones are ready to move. The great ones are ready to do what they got to do at all times. They're prepared. They're keeping their sword sharp even when they're not practicing. They're sharp. Their sword is sharp. You may want to question it, but you can't question it. Why? Because the greats already got a track record. That's why you're working with them. So once you put together the mastermind is finding the people that you need on your team. Some people say, I don't know the base. I don't know my base. How do I start a team? What's the team look like? The structure looks like it's you. What are you going to be? Well, we told you already. You're the first trustee. Okay. It's not about it being a second trustee or a third trustee. It's about who's joining the first board of trustees. So, okay. Do you need a secretary? Yeah, you got to hire a virtual assistant. You got to hire an assistant. You got to have a use an AI tool. If it's going to be private, then it might not be is utilizing the AI. But point being is you still got it. The something recording the meeting for a secretary position. Bam, you got a secretary. It's no, oh man, if ands buts out telling you the structure. Okay, we're talking about after that, you got a CFO. You got someone that you could say, okay, this person right here, they can come in, handle the structure from an accounting perspective, a CFO perspective. Okay, now some people might not have a CEO in a trust position, but they still have another trustee that has at least 25 plus years of experience. That could have been the chairman of the board, and you just one of the trustees on the first. Is the chairman higher than you? No, you could actually put chairman in as a non-protector. As a non-protector. As many titles you can get a chairman, but they got the experience. Okay, so we got the board now. We got a chairman. We got you. We got the secretary. We got the CFO. In the public side they call him CFO. On the private side we call him treasurer or the treasurer. So okay, you got your CFO. You got your CTO, whatever you want to call him. Chief Treasury Officer, okay. Chief Financial Officer, okay. They're dealing with the accounting, making sure the account's going good. Okay, great. Do you have a CLO? Do you have a Chief Legal Officer? Do you have a chief legal officer? Do you have legal? Do you have, oh man, Judge Christian, once again, I don't really know nobody that's going to be able to help me out with $10 million, $20 million, $50 million. I don't know nobody that's going to be able to help me do that. Exactly, because that's why you got to go find an accountant and a lawyer that you can't afford right now. You say, oh, Trust Christian, that makes no sense. That's the point. It's not supposed to make sense. It's supposed to just get done. You gotta figure it out. That's how scrappy you have to be. That's how gritty you have to be. A lot of guys might try to take a shortcut, but the fact is you gotta go find accountants and lawyers that you can't afford. That's the reality of it. So you go, some of them, once again, you hit it with the, oh man, I'm gonna go look for somebody 55 and up. You know, baby boomer status. They older, 25 years of experience. The mentor say you got to find somebody on your board that you don't have to explain about. A lot of y'all want to get funded, but you got to explain about other things. Probably the only person you explain about is yourself. So if you don't need to explain about yourself, you don't want to explain about anyone else on the board. So it's no explaining. It is what it is. This is who I'm working with. And they're going to give you credibility. They're going to give you the experience. They're going to cover the gaps that you have mentally and educationally. That's what it is. Okay, so we looked at chairman, you, secretary. Y'all see the bench is getting deep. Y'all see who's building the bench. You're building the bench. You got to sharpen your skills. Now, here we go. Some of y'all may say, oh, Trust Christian, you just telling us to do this, but I have no frame of reference. Trust Christian had a book. Yes. Trust Christian has a script. Yes. We use scripts. You have to use a script. If you don't use a script when you making the calls, that's like saying, why didn't you do it already? That's what the mentors would tell us. So that's why you got to use the scripts. It's not because you're dumb. It's not because you're not intelligent. It's because if you knew how to get someone to do something that you're talking about, you would have already got them to do it. But since you don't know that, you got to have the scripts. The scripts are even to recruit the lawyers. The scripts are even to recruit the accountants. How you going to recruit the accountants and the lawyers? You got to recruit them. It's a business. You got to have a system. It's a business. It's a repeatable process. Now, a lot of people are like, oh man, Trust Christian, I'm out here content creating. That's what they doing. They sitting behind a camera. So they're not the shooter. They're not the producer. They're not the editor. They're just the face. They're just the talking head. Trust Christian. That's why we don't even have time to sit here and do all these visual episodes. Why? Because we're making it a point to be out talking to the right people, focused on being with them, what they say IRL, in real life, not just sitting on the computer talking about you streaming. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, the focus is, if you're a private trustee, we're living that life. We're not out here streaming for the public internet. You got to be private streaming. Create a private documentation log for your family, for the family estate. So, okay. Chairman, you, secretary, CFO for treasurer, CLO for chief legal. Alright, cool. You got a bench of what? 1, 2, 3. Secretary don't count as much as an executive or a trustee, so that's fine. But you have your chief legal, chief financial. Who else will we say? Oh yeah, and you want to go find another industry expert. You got to find another industry expert. What's wrong with having another 25 years of experience on your board? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with having another 25 years of experience? Well, I don't want to give up. What am I giving up for all of these people? You're giving up shares in the bigger trust, in the family estate. Now, maybe you have more than one, but at least you go out and you build a team. This shows you how you build your team privately with the family, and this is what you need on your team privately for the family, and this is what you need on the team in the public. This is what you need. It's not a, oh man, can I cut a corner? Look, you can do what you want to do all day, every day, but you will not have a system that outlives you if it's just you. See, that's what they didn't tell you. They didn't tell you that if you keep doing something every single day, going into a job every single day, doing something for yourself every single day, you can't outlive yourself. So then you had to use a thing called leverage, which is a wonder of the world. They use leverage. So now you can put money to work. Now you can put your time to work, your efforts to work, by pouring into other people, by utilizing the money that you do get and putting it into other things. That's leverage. But you didn't learn that in public school, did you? Because if you did, and if you were trained to do it, not just educated, oh, I was educated in that information, but yeah, you're not trained in the information. You got to be trained in the information. You got to do it every single day. You got to pour into people every single day. It can't be an excuse to get up and do something for the family estate. It can't be that. It's got to be, I'm up for the family estate. We got a system. We got a Titanic that we build it, that we have here, that we got to build, and you got to manage every single day. Oh man, really, Trust Christian, you gotta manage it every single day? I can't take days off. I'm not gonna go on vacation as a trustee. No, you're going on a site visit. Did you hear that? But see, some of y'all don't want to live it like that. Some of them, they want to play with it out here. Oh man, I heard about that trust stuff. That's all they did. They heard about it, and they gonna perish for not. Know what they say? They gonna perish for the lack of knowledge, for implementing the lack of knowledge. They know they supposed to be going on site visits, but they going on vacations instead. So what you gonna do? You gonna build a board. Alright, we were sitting there thinking about where we at right now. Mentors came to us for a gut check. He said, what do you want to be? And after he said, what do you want to be? He said, who have you built your team around for your life and for your business to support that vision? But how many is willing to make that sacrifice? You don't want to know. You don't want to know. Because if you knew, you would have made the decision to say, I'm willing to look like the fool. I'm willing to look like whatever. So my family can remember our name in 3 generations. So they can have a greater level of freedom than I have right now. So they can have more options through the leverage. The leverage gives you options. Some people may want to live in denial from the options, but the leverage gives you options. So how do you execute the being with the team? You got to put a system in place. You got to map it out first. You say, okay, this is what I need. I need these people. I'm gonna pray. I'm gonna view. I'm visualizing these people. I'm sitting with these people. I'm talking to these people. You didn't think Trust Christian had to do that? We had to do that. We're telling you what you got to do. You got to visualize it first. You got to see it before you're there. How you gonna say, oh, well, Trust Christian, I don't know what I need? You know, we know you don't know what you need. You don't know what you need because you don't know what you need because why don't you know what you need? Because you didn't read any books on the subject matter. We were listening to one of the mentors said, for however long you want to be in the business is how long you should study the business before you get in. Now we think that's kind of stupid, but at the same time, he's telling you the truth. He's telling you, you got to study subjects. That's why people go to business school 4 years, so they can succeed longer than 4 years, so they can be built mentally tough every single year to learn something new every single year in business. Are you going to learn something new every single year in business? Are you going to learn the first year? Okay, I got to build a team. This is how I learn to build a team. Okay, the next year, I got to learn how to go raise capital. This is next year, I got to learn how to focus. I got to learn how to have structure. I've attracted all these successful people to me, but I attracted them to me. But now, do I know how to hold the relationships together? Do I know how to lead? Do you know how to lead with compassion? Do you know how to lead with intelligence? You think you're just going to be some tyrant? People try to talk about people, oh man, this person's this person, that. Yeah, but guess what? They're a leader. And you're upset that they're a leader. You're upset that they actually can lead, that they can get people to do things and it don't even make sense. That's what you're upset about. And you got to get over that. You got to get over the fact that someone else can lead and you didn't yet. So when you get to that point where you say, you know what? I can lead. I can move with integrity. As much as you think people aren't moving with integrity as a leader, you're out of your mind. Y'all know who Bernie Madoff is, and think about what Bernie did. Bernie was able to pull it off because there was times where he was robbing Peter to pay Paul. He wasn't just, taking money. He would give money to other people. Learn the story before you try to condemn the leader. Oh man, this leader's not a good leader. What are you? And since you don't have a reference, you got to learn from some others. Read a book or two on that subject matter for someone that's an expert in that field. That's what we're talking about. Alrighty. So now that we know that you got to learn some skills and you're going to build out a board. They say, oh, Trust Christian, how am I going to build the greatest board with reference manual? We was wondering, should we drop it? But we're going to drop it. Why? Because they say that the readers are the leaders, that the greatest are studiers of their subject matter. So we're going to give it to you. Because if you want to be the best, you got to study. It's no, Trust Christian, I don't have time. Then that's why you're not it. You got to study. So here's the book. So they say, oh, Trust Christian, I got to get a book. What book am I going to get? You're going to get The Rockefeller Habits by Vern Harnish. That's what you're going to get. And you're going to see how not hard it is, but how structured it is. So you can see how structured it is. So you cannot play with wealth. So you can know why you have wealth. It's because and you can know why the Rockefellers have wealth. It's because it's a structure to it. You could sit in a room with a Rockefeller and you wouldn't even know it. Why? Because that's how quiet and structured they are. It's about being competent, about surrounding yourself around competent people and moving that capacity.
People want to say, oh, what is wealth? First of all, the only reason they classified you as poor is so you didn't get out of it. But now that you know that you are wealthy and you're managing wealth, you got to be structured. It's no, oh, I'm not structured. It's I'm structured. And it's almost going to go to who's the most structured because they're going to take calculated risk. We were talking to someone and we asked them, how much money do you want to make in the business? What's your goal? And they try to say, I'm just trying to make enough to pay my bills. That's not it. That's not structured. That's not wealth preservation. That's why they're going to sink to the tidy bowl. You don't want to hear that though. They don't want to hear that though. Why? Because Trust Christian's been there. And that's the reality. The reality is when you don't have structure, you don't have the ability. Think about it. If you don't have structure, how the money going to have structure? Let's talk about it. Because it's all areas of your life. How your relationships going to have structure if you don't have the structure with the money. You got to have structure. That's the word you got to be. Structure. So once you get structured, and you understand, oh, okay, I gotta apply structure to all areas. That's what you're doing. You're applying structure to all areas. To the business, to the personal. And the structure is building out teams. How do you build out a successful personal life? You gotta build out a team in your successful life, in your personal life. People don't want to hear, oh, this person doesn't qualify for the dream no more. They don't qualify for the dream. Y'all want to go there? They don't qualify for the dream. It's a hard trust Christian. Do they qualify for the dream? How do you have value and then people in your life don't have value? It don't work that way. People in your life have value because you have value. Just like Trust Christian has value to you, giving you the message, giving you the words of wisdom, so you can go out and do the things that you know that you got to do and be the man or the woman that you know you got to be for your family estate. Even the women, we've had many women that come through the Trustee Training. Many single women come through the Trustee Training. Many married women come through the Trustee Training. It's not about you being a single or married. It's not about any of that. It's about understanding stewardship. You got to understand stewardship. And once you understand stewardship, you can start wherever you at. What are you here to bless people with? What are you here to bless people with? Are you going to be a great steward? Are you going to be on a team with great stewards? Are you going to show up every single day? Or are you waiting for the vacation? That's what we know. We know that there's so many people that they got a dream inside their heart. And they think that they got to have an opportunity come to them. And if they only understood, they are the opportunity. You are the opportunity. There's a dream inside you. There's a goal inside you. And just being structured. Being disciplined is going to give you what you need. We would like to say it's business, it's not personal. But what happens to your personal life? What happens when you structure your life and your personal the same way as your business? You're going to see wealth trickle over into your personal life. How you going into your personal life? How you going to have wealth in your personal life and you're not structured? But your business life is structured and is wealthy. People say, "Oh, I got this problem in my personal life, but I don't know. I'm so successful in business, I have personal problems. Blah blah blah." Yeah, because if you just tighten up and handle everything accordingly to business, just like your personal life, you'll be fine. You'll be supported. Why? Because just like you built a team of the board of trustees on the business side, you build it on the personal side. Who in my life can I have around for this reason? Who can I have around for that reason? Who can I build a team? You're building your team. Now, the choice is, are you going to build that structure? The Vern Harnish book, it's going to go into pretty much a lot of details. It's pretty detailed. It's pretty structured. And when you see, oh man, Trust Christian, is this really what the Rockefellers do? Is this what they really did? And then you find out that you the first person in your family that you got to do it now. And you can't wait another day. You can't wait another second. You got to use the book, and you got to put the book into action right now. And you got to take action every single day. And whether you want to say it or not, you'll know it. Oh man, my family estate gonna have millions and billions. And guess what? I got to look backwards though. And no one around me right now sees that. And you got to keep pushing. And you got to say, oh, I can reverse engineer it. Because that's what the leaders did. They not soft saying, oh man, who's gonna remember my name in 3 generations? Just like the Rothschilds 5, 6 generations later. Just like the Rothschilds 3 generations later. Just like the Kennedys 3 generations later. Just like the Bushes 3 generations later. Just like the Trumps 3 generations later. You know these names because they made it a point to think backwards. And that's what it takes. It's not, oh man, Trust Christian, I'm having a hard time looking forward. Yeah, because you're thinking about from your small place right now, if you think it's small, or you're thinking about where you're coming from, and that's already behind where you're supposed to be. So the way that you get that mentality is you think from the 3 generations now, the 4 generations now, the 5 generations now. And that might sound wow, but that's how it's still here. That's why you know these names. They're in the universal consciousness because they made it a point to think that the universal consciousness was going to remember their name in 2 or 3 generations. That's just the way it is. But if you know that you want to be remembered, what they say, the greatest of all time, then you're going to take on the mantra. That's just that. So, trustees, it's a mantle of leadership. It's an honor to sit at this table with so few. The ones that stepped up, the ones that gave. What they say, a good man gives an inheritance to his kids. A good woman gives an inheritance to her kids. That's what a good one is in our book, at our circle, in our table. That's not for everybody though. Maybe you want someone to start at what they call 0. But when you're building a board, you're building a system. You're building a team, you're building an institution. That's why you know about these names in the universal consciousness. It's because they have this structure. Everything we talked about, we know we created a epic episode. Because somebody can say, oh, Trust Christian, what does a trust look like? That's what a trust looks like. It's the structure. It's not the daggone substance. I got a trust. Yeah, you got a trust. You got a contract. But you don't got nobody in there writing the minutes. You don't got nobody in there that got a position formally. You don't even have nobody in there other than yourself. But you got a trust. So we already know what it is. It's the form versus the substance. You got a trust in contract, but you don't got the substance to back you up. You think it's the contract that's the substance? No, it's the substance, it's the activities, the minutes that are being filed. It's interesting, we were thinking about this word, because we could say this word, because trust are synonymous with monopolies. You don't want to hear that you're playing Monopoly. And the faster you go back to playing Monopoly, the faster you're going to be wealthy. The faster you are wealthy. The faster you implement the strategies. The faster you implement the strategies of Monopoly, the faster you'll be the best trustee. There's no way you could be the best trustee talking about you don't have a Monopoly mentality. That's the way it is. So when you talk about being the best trustee, you're going to build a team and you're going to build the greatest board structure ever. And if you only knew that is waiting for you, if you only knew the fact that you're thinking about being the best trustee, if you only knew that thinking about being the best trustee means you can attract the best trustees just right now. If you only knew that and you stepped out on faith and you start recruiting and you start doing the things that's necessary, you reach out for a consultation with the vault, you get the consultation with the vault so you can figure out how to build out your team. We got testimonials. Go to the testimonials. It don't matter if they young or they old. We've solved many different problems over at the vault, from people saying, oh yeah, the bank froze the trust accounts. Now think about that. That when the bank froze your trust accounts, who you gonna call? They like to think it's the Ghostbusters, but who you gonna call when they freeze the trust bank account? Are you going to call your team? You going to call Trust Christian in the vault? That's who you got to rely on. You got to rely on your board, the greatest board. We had one trustee go do something recently. We said, oh yeah, we're going to pass you along to one of our other senior trustees that's gone through these type of things before, that has property internationally, because they're on the board. They pick up when you call. They're like family. That's what happens. It's that simple, ladies and gentlemen. So many trustees, they say, oh, Trust Christian, I got a dream. But you don't even know your number. We sitting in class right now. Every trustee's got to throw up their number. Why? So other trustees can hold it in a universal consciousness. That's your board. They hold you accountable. They hold you accountable to your number. They hold you accountable to what you say you might contribute to the pot. That's what they do. So when we come to trustee training and we now know our number, oh, okay, we know our number now. Yeah, we know our number. We know the people that might be required to get that number. Somebody that may have been close, or they touched it. Now you might think that people haven't touched it, but they have. And that's what you go next. You go out and you build the board. You find people that have done the things that you want to do. That's how you build the greatest board. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listening to replay. You listening to the Vault. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. A lot of people that have inquired about trusteeship, and they just, hey, Trust Christian, I want to make sure that I'm the best trustee. But do you have a true wealth mentality? You gotta have a wealth mentality, ladies and gentlemen. We done seen so many trustees. Shout out to every trustee that's listened to the Vault and they quit their job and they building their business. That takes what people consider a lot of guts, but it's really just a decision. Shout out to the trustees that have made a decision to bet on themselves. Shout out to the trustees that believe in themselves. Shout out to the trustees that have the faith in themselves. Shout out to the trustees that know that they're provided for. Shout out to the trustees that they know that whatever move they make, it's going to work. Shout out to the trustees that they can bet on themselves. They got the confidence to say, I can wake up today and something great's going to happen to me. Not wake up today and say, man, I was born in poverty, so I'm going to stay in it. Because a wealth mentality wakes up every day with the wealth mentality. It's no getting around it. It's no, oh man, today I wonder how bad it's going to be. I wonder how many bills I got to pay. That's not how you thinking when you wealthy. So you got to think like you're wealthy right now. I know that might sound a little challenging, but at the end of the day, you got to do it. It's thinking with a wealth mentality right now. And a wealth mentality has a team. A wealth mentality has people around them. They going to recruit those people. They figure it out. They go to the Chamber of Commerce. They go to these different organizations. Some of the organizations don't even they're like say you get to a higher level of like say you get to a higher level of being an executive on the public side. Say you're making $1 million a year, you could become part of this organization called Entrepreneurs Organization, EO. There are many entrepreneurs in there. You become part of different business organizations. The mentor said, join the club. You can't afford. You got to get in a business club so you can get around other business people, other trustees. Get in a private club so you know, okay, this is where other private trustees is at, and they moving successfully. They already showing why, because they can afford to pay to be in the room right now. That's how. So what are you going to do? You might not go to the club for a few weekends. You might not go to dinner for a few weeks. And you might say, you know, we're going to take a few $100s and go become part of a business club. And we're going to go and get in a business club and we're going to find out, get around some senior trustees and build out our board. We're going to build them face to face. And what they say, IRL, in real life. That's what you're going to do. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. People say, oh man, I don't know how to make the best decisions as a trustee. That's because you don't have a senior trustee or a mentor around you. But when you have a senior trustee or mentor around you, all you gotta do is just think about what they would do. Think about the things they've talked about with you. That's why you gotta build those relationships so you can have those conversations. Some information is gonna serve you. Sometimes they pass along their self-imposed limitations. Oh man, it's no work-life balance. You're not gonna be able to do it. Hey, it may not be a work-life balance, but you can have what you want if you focused. See, some people gonna put their limitations on you. Oh, you can't be a senior trustee and still go on vacation. You're not gonna go on vacation. That's the difference. You're just not going on vacation. It's a site visit. Get clear. It's business. It's no more personal stuff. You're supposed to be a trustee in the first place. But who are you around reinforcing the trustee mindset? That's why they reach out to Trust Christian in the Vault. That's why we've been doing this for as long as we've been doing it. Because trustees have been reaching out for years. They need the mindset. They need someone to kick them in the rear end. Oh man, for real? Hey, a lot of them, they appreciate Trust Christian when we go in and say, this is what you got to do. This is what you got to do. This is what you got to do. And then they go out and do it. And then their life is better. And Trust Christian, we don't get no credit for it. What credit do we get for it? You don't get no credit for it. All you get is just the ability to see someone else change their life and move in a direction that they want to move in, which is the actual thing that they said they wanted to do, which was trusteeship. Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, it's Christian at trustchristian.com. Look forward to hearing from you all. Peace and joy.